Hi everyone, this is Segian from Dwel.Online. In this video, I'll quickly run through the various features of Dwel to give you an idea as to how useful it can be in your everyday life. Let's get started. Dwel is an online application, which means that it's accessible through any browser. It's primarily designed to be used on tablets and mobile phones. However, for the purposes of this demonstration, I will be using a computer. I've opened Google Chrome and typed in the address of my personal Dwel. I want to use my personal Dwel in order to show you how I use its functions in my life and hopefully make it a little more relatable rather than using a demonstration site. Once you log in, you're presented with the dashboard. This is also called the home page. Now you can see that it has several sections. First section is this top one with colorful icons, each one of which represents a particular app. We'll go through them in a short while. In the middle here is the weather widget, and you can set it to point at your location wherever you are, and it will show you a weekly forecast. At the bottom here, there's a collection of images, whether it's just images that I liked and saved on my computer or on my phone, or whether it's photos that I've taken as me and my family somewhere traveling, etc. So every time the home page is loaded, this widget here takes 6 random images and displays them to me. What that does is, as I go through my day, I just see these thumbnails, and if one of them sort of reminds me of something, I can click on it, enlarge it, and see the actual photo. It might be just an image like this one. Again, I can enlarge it. Anyway, it gives me an opportunity to see something beautiful that I thought was worth saving and I saved before. It's a nice way of sharing your photos and your images with the rest of your family, actually, because if other members of your family upload their images, they also will be shown here, which gives you an opportunity to see what others like. Another section is these buttons here on the left. These are shortcut buttons. The first one allows you to add an item to the shopping list. The second one allows you to add an event to the calendar. The third allows to clip a media file of some sort, whether it's a photo, an image, a text, or a link. It can be clipped and saved in the Binder application here. This button here allows us to add a new task for the tasks module, and the last one allows us to record an expense. So for example, this morning I went and had a coffee. There I'll click that button and say coffee, or select it from here. I was $4.40. The category is remembered from my previous entry, and I just click add, so that transaction is now recorded. And you can see that the film strip widget here down the bottom has updated and a new selection of images has come up. Okay, so let's go through the applications one by one. I'll go through the simple ones first. So let's start with tasks. Now, as you can see here, I've got some of my house chores broken down into tasks and assigned to primarily myself, but my son's got a couple of them as well. That's not much, but you know, teenagers. Anyway, the tasks, I'll just show you an example of one. Lawn mowing is done every 3 weeks. It has a notification set on it. And I'll show you what happens when a task becomes due. We'll just change the due date to today and update this. And you can see that the task has become red. Now, if I neglect it for a couple of days, it will begin to grow in size. Let me show you that. Let's move it even a bit further back. So what this is for is basically it'll keep growing in size up to a point, but the bigger it gets, the more it obviously reminds me that it's overdue. Also, on the home page, there is this little red notification bubble that sits there, and as I go through my day doing other things, the bubble there shows me that I've got an outstanding task that I need to attend to. It's a gentle reminder, but it's constantly there, so it's just something that makes it difficult to ignore, and hopefully make me get to it quicker. The next application is the shopping list. I have a tablet set up on my refrigerator, and when I'm in the kitchen and I cook, as I run out of ingredients, I turn to the fridge tablet and just simply find whatever it is that I need, say flour, tick it, and go back to whatever I was doing before, because that item is now sitting on items to be purchased list. When I'm in the shops, I simply use my mobile phone to access this very same list, and as I buy things, I untick them. They automatically go off the list. If I need to add something without actually scrolling down or whatever, I can simply click this button here, start typing cucumbers, for example, and add them in. And I can add a free measure to it. Please disregard this plus one. It's something that I added for myself. It's a reference to something else. So here I could say a bunch of cucumbers, or I could say 5 kilos of them, whatever. Just basically I'm trying to demonstrate the measurements, and you can have comments. Please don't get long ones. So this is in case somebody else goes to the shops and is buying the items for you. As you can see, it shows exactly the measure and the comment on the list. So when you're in the shop, you see them. The next application we'll look at is notices. Notices is what it says. It basically, when you need to make a notice available to the members of your household, but you don't want it to be an immediate thing, so you don't really want to text it to someone. It's just something like, please don't eat the cake, it's for grandma's birthday, or similar announcements. That's when we use this particular module. I just demonstrate that. Please don't eat the cake. And what you can do here, first of all, you can say, make it a little more authoritative. You can set an expiry date for a message, because or time rather, because you don't necessarily want this message to sit there forever. Let's say for the next 3 hours, you know that after 3 hours the cake will be used. And you can say it's important or urgent, or just a simple normal message. We'll set it to important. All it does, it just changes the colors to orange like this, or red if it's urgent. Well, we'll keep it at important. Add that in. Now what happens here is, on the home page, that message comes up. All other members of your household who are using Dwel will see this message, and they can dismiss it when they've seen it. They can just click here, or they could, if they have a reason to, reply to it. Something like that, and let's see, whoever, there is a reply. So in case you need a reply in here, I just obviously typed in some to demonstrate the capability. Anyway, so once you've seen the message and you're happy with it, you just dismiss it from the home page, but it still remains obviously in the notices module itself. And also there is this notification bubble that says there are 2 new messages there for those people who haven't seen them on the home page, or for people who have seen them and dismissed them. And this is simply a reminder for the next 3 hours. Every time they look at this bubble, they will remember that the cake is not up for grabs, obviously. So after 3 hours, that bubble will disappear. That was that setting. Alright, so this was a fairly simple module, and we'll just move on with the next one. The next module I'll demonstrate is the events module. This is basically the calendar, and it's the family calendar. It's the one shared by all members of the family. It's not an individual thing, unless an individual appointment relates to other people in the family somehow. Say if your child has a doctor's appointment, then obviously you have that appointment as well. The events are shown in 3 different views. You can see them as a list of events like this. You can see them in a calendar view like this, or you can see them in a weekly view. I like this kind of display because it shows you how many days until a particular event. And if you like Christmas or New Year's Eve, you can see that as a countdown. Let's add an event and demonstrate how that works. Well, let's say Christmas Eve is set to the 25th. Standard reminder, and we'll add that in. So 19 days until Christmas. Actually, that's Christmas Day, not Christmas Eve. But anyway, we'll continue. Let me show you what happens when an appointment becomes due or comes close to the due date. Let's move this one to tomorrow. And you can see that it becomes orange. Correspondingly, there is an orange reminder bubble on the icon on the home page. If we go and change it to today, then the notification becomes red. Similarly here, it becomes red. And we know that today we have an appointment just by looking at the home page. Okay, so now for the more complex modules. First of which is the food module. Initially you can see that it's a collection of recipes designed to be used in the kitchen while you're cooking. If you remember, I mentioned that I have a tablet affixed to my refrigerator, which is constantly on, and it has my Dwel on it. So at any stage, whenever I cook, I go into the food module, I select the recipe that I want. Let's say I want this Mexican stuffed zucchini. I click on that, and I've got only 2 people that I want to cook for, so I'll change the quantity, and I click display. What this does, you'll see this notice here, it says that all quantities have been decreased 2 times, and the cooking times and dish sizes may have also decreased. So the recipe adjusts itself according to the number of servings that I've selected. So I go and get my ingredients. As I get them, I take them off if I need to, which is not necessary, but maybe a convenience. And then I follow the directions on this side. Now with the directions we have a timer as well. So in here it says bake for 15 minutes, so you can click on that and a 15-minute timer begins. And you can have multiple timers set within the same frame. So this one's 5 minutes, this one's 10 minutes, and they will start ringing as the time expires. So if you don't want those things, you just obviously dismiss them. Okay, so that's displaying the single recipe. The other thing that food module does, or allows us to do, is that if you're not necessarily cooking at this stage but are planning to, you can send the ingredients of this recipe to your shopping list to make sure that you've got everything that you need beforehand. So by clicking this basket icon here, we get this pop-up dish to shopping list where we have the opportunity to untick the items that we may already have at home. We don't need to buy them. For example, we'll not need Mexican seasoning, as I've got it. Kidney beans I've also got in cans. Tomatoes diced in cans I have. Tasty cheddar cheese, tomatoes, coriander leaves. Alright, so I can send them all to shopping list. And let's check the shopping list, shall we? Here we go. Here's the beef mince, coriander leaves, shredded tasty cheddar, etc. And you can see these little asterisks that tell us that this has come from the food module. Because if we've changed our minds and we don't want to cook that anymore for whatever reason, we can just delete these items and still leave all the other items that we've previously wanted to buy on the list. Anyway, get back to food module. Now the food module has extensive planning capabilities. You can plan for a day, you can plan for a week, you can plan for longer than that if you like. So here, clicking this button, we show 3 predefined weekly plans here, and we can add new plans if we want to. But let's have a look at one of these plans. If we click on that, it just shows us here. On Tuesday, day 2, you'd have porridge in the morning, then for lunch there is crunchy broccoli salad and our Mexican style zucchinis, etc. So this is how you make a plan, and if you don't like something, you can just pick this up and delete it off the plan and add something else instead. Actually, maybe not like that, but day 2, dinner. And number of servings only 2. So chicken, mint and beef frittata instead of whatever we had there before. So these are the template plans which we can then come back here. We'll apply that template plan to second week, for example. Okay, and you can see here it shows you that the plan was applied to that week. When you're in the food module and you go into the calendar, if you have a look at what you're going to have on Tuesday in the second week, it shows the plan here. And there are several things you can do here. You can, as you start cooking lunch for that day, for example, you say display, and it shows you both of those recipes in a row, so you can start cooking them. Or you can amend that day's plan from here, like clicking on that dish, you can delete it out of here. Anyway, so there are extensive capabilities for planning meals, and that was one of the biggest focuses of Dwel, is that allowing people to create these meal plans in order to cater for different tastes, different tolerances. We have great deal of categorization. Let's edit a recipe, and you can see that here you can select the various allergies or intolerances. Let's say this recipe contains dairy, citrus and peanuts, and when we save that in here we can see straight away it contains these allergens. But there are lots and lots of different capabilities within this module. It is a complex one, as I said before. I'm just trying to give you a very, very quick overview. The next big module is the budget module. The budget is basically about how we use our finances. And to start with, I will show you a list of recurring transactions that I have set up. These are rent and bill payments, insurance premium payments, etc. Things that are happening on an ongoing basis are all in this list. And when we come back to the main screen, you can see that it has monthly tabs, and within those tabs you can see the occurrences of those recurring payments displayed in an order of date. So from this view here, I can right away tell that in this month of December I have around $6,000 income planned, out of which around $3,000 is already spent basically to different bills, etc. And I've got another $3,000 left for other purposes. I can see a similar thing for January and several months in advance. So the purpose of this is to allow me to, at a glance, to see whether I'm covering that month's expenses or not. I can change the number of months that I'm looking forward to 6, for example, and so it recalculates 6 months worth of transactions. So here we go, in May 2020 I will have this much money, and oh, it's not good. So a lot more expenses for some reason. It's probably because some of the big insurance premiums are coming due there in May, like yearly car insurance premiums, etc. So this right here will tell me to plan for May, for extra money will be needed. This was a good example actually. There's also the list of transactions. If you remember, I earlier on added a coffee expense. Here it is at the top of the list today. And every time I spend money for whatever reason, I record it. So what it does, if we go into this screen here, it allows me to see the breakdown in categories of spending and how much I spent this week. So far it has been $354, and out of this the biggest expense by far is groceries, followed by transport, which is fuel mostly. Anyway, so it gives you an idea of what you're spending and allows you to plan better for the future. This is the reason for this module. There are many other useful functions that are planned for this module in the future, and we're looking forward to getting to those because they can be extremely helpful in terms of saving money for things, having complete visibility of your financial state. Okay, the next important module of Dwel is Binder. And Binder, as the name suggests, is there to bind information of different sorts together. So the way we have implemented this particular function is to arrange information in clips which contain staples, which in turn contain clippings. So in this particular case, I have a clip of purchases, appliances and furniture. And we've got this Wi-Fi IP camera that I just bought recently. And I wanted to show you that I've got the photo of the receipt in case I need it to return or for warranty. Oops, let me just dismiss this. And there is the user manual as well. We have a built-in PDF reader which I have access to immediately. So whenever I need anything from one of my appliances, or like this here, the lounge room sofa, I can immediately look up warranty conditions and decide whether it's still under repairs or not. And this is the initial invoice. As you can see, the picture was taken with little light, but it was taken at a high resolution. And when we click on it, it can come up to, we can just discern all the information there. It's a way of keeping information together, information that might be needed in a few years' time and will be difficult to find otherwise. Now, the Binder module is designed actually to contain all sorts of different information. For example, I use it as a record of my bill payments. When I receive a new bill, which I will demonstrate to you in a second, I set up so that my Binder accesses a dedicated email box where my utility company send emails to. And I can check that by just clicking this button here. As you can see right away in my email inbox, there is an invoice from Luma Energy. Now this isn't a coincidence, I set it up for demonstration purposes, just to show you how it works. So this is the actual email they sent on the 9th of December, $160 due. And this is the PDF version of the same thing. All comes from their email. So now what I do with these sort of things is, first thing, as I received it, I will change that staple to be in the bills to be paid clip. I won't do that now. I'll just show you. So bills to be paid. We've got the Luma electricity. This is the previous one. There are two invoices to be paid still. This one actually can move because it has been paid, I know that. So I can move this to Luma paid. And this is Luma electric bill. So I save that. And it disappears out of the to be paid tab. So we've only got this one, which is due on the 13th of December. And this is a web hosting invoice. So, but let's say, just for this example, that I've just received this new electric bill. What I would normally do with this is move it to the to be paid. I would set that in my budget application. There we go. And in here I will say an expense, Luma electricity bill. 160.30, and it's due on the 13th, I believe. So I want a standard reminder, and I'll save that. Now I can have a look in my 13th. Luma electric bill, 13th of December, due in 7 days. Now this was an example, this is how I deal with this, and later on it will come up here as a reminder like this one. Day before we'll see an orange notification bubble, and on the day that is due, that bubble will become red. So I know that I need to pay that bill. For now I'll just delete it. So here's how I would remove it. I'll just click there. It says please confirm, and it's confirmed. Alright, so that was how Binder helps with bills. Binder is also where all of these images are stored, organized in categories. Easier will be to say there's images, then my collection, there's photos from my phone or my son's phone. And so let's go into my images and have a quick look what I've got. I've got various landscapes and things I find wondrous and fantastic. World cities. Mostly these pictures, they come from Facebook. As I go through my Facebook stream, if I find an interesting picture, I just save it to my phone and then upload it into my Dwel, which is actually quite easy to do. I'll just show you here. Let's, for sake of an example, save a clip. Let's say this very screen here. I'll do a print screen, and I'll edit as a screenshot of my Dwel homepage. Okay, that'll be Alec or Al, and I can just add that in. What will happen is this screenshot will now go into the inbox. It will be sitting here in the inbox tab, waiting for me to attend to it whenever I have time, to see what it is and where it belongs. So I will look at it, I'll say, okay, this is something to do with memories, so let's have a look where we can save it. We can save it in images, Alex collection, or we'll just save it in the unstapled, just a random image collection. We'll save it. And now it's gone from the inbox, and you can see it here, unstapled now. If I don't need it, I'll delete it. And we're done. Okay, last but not least is our market application. Market application consists of a number of different streams. You can think of them as channels on your television. Each stream is dedicated to a particular topic. Like this one we're looking at is the recipe stream. And the idea is that for people to post their own recipes and for others to download them into your local collection. So if you were to use this particular stream, you'd go to this icon here, select the marketplace, which is Australia, and then look at the filter that you'd like to set up as to what kind of cuisine you prefer, what sort of dishes you want to look for. We'll leave this intact because at the moment there aren't too many different posts. We'll just look at them all. So you'll save this filter, and according to it, your stream will be showing you the latest recipes from those categories. And you can further explore these recipes by clicking on them. You'd get more information. You get information about these things, like what the author has written. There are all sorts of ranking tools that allow you to either like or dislike a particular recipe, provide a number of stars if you'd like, or simply remain neutral, like you neither like it nor dislike it. You have that option as well. You may download a recipe if it's not already in your local collection. So this is the recipe stream, and there is also a bargain stream which is planned but it's not operational yet. The bargain stream's idea is that your local shops will post whatever they consider to be a bargain. Actually, the bargain is pretty well defined in our context. It's anything that is sold at more than 20% discount of the usual price. That will be a bargain. So any such bargains from the area where you live, and you specify that by selecting the marketplace, and also you can define various localities such as the suburb and surrounding suburbs of where you live or where you work, etc. and you can just select those localities in this drop down here and see what the local merchants are offering. So that's the idea of the bargains stream. As I said, it's not yet operational because, well, there aren't that many Dwel users for it to be effective. But as we get more supporters, this will definitely take off. So for now, we'll just go back to the recipe stream. This is an operational stream and can be utilized at any time. If you don't have a recipe, you can download it if you like. You can comment on any one of them. You just select the add comment button. So that was the very quick rundown of Dwel and its capabilities. And for the last thing, I wanted to show you my setup here in the kitchen. This is the tablet that I was talking about. It's an old iPad 1, which is completely obsolete. So I use it here and it's perfect for these purposes. My Dwel homepage is on 24/7 and it updates itself every 30 minutes. So I don't need to touch it even. And every time I pass by it, I can see these little notification bubbles, and each one of them tells me something about the state of my affairs, such as I've just received an email, I've got a payment coming up tomorrow, and there are 3 tasks that are overdue at the moment. That's how I use it, and it's very effective, and you can have one of your own if you like. So just go to Dwel.Online and follow the links to order your own Dwel. All the best.